Okay, we're in Saint John, New Brunswick, which is really cool. We hadn't planned it. I love spur of the moment kind of changes, and we're in a very cool store called Second Spin. Now, if you're into comics, if you're into vinyl, if you're into DVDs, this is it. And action figures too. And who knew it? But a comic book connoisseur, Chris Cummings.
How's it going, Stephanie?
How are you?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Long time.
For sure.
I didn't know you like comic books.
Yeah, I've been collecting. I collected when I was a kid, and then I didn't collect for about 5 or 6 years, and then in my mid-20s, I got back into.
Yeah.
As I was on the road.
What are your favorites though? Now you've got it. Everybody's got their own sort of.
60s and 70s Spider-Man and Green Lantern.
Okay.
Usually, I look for those.
There's a Green Lantern movie coming out.
Yeah,
isn't
next
there?
year. Next year, Ryan Reynolds is doing a Green Lantern. A lot of comic book movies over the last 10 years.
Which is there's nothing wrong with that. Well, I'm excited because we're seeing you, and it's been a long time for you and me. But you've got a great album out, and it's doing amazing at radio.
It's we're very happy with the reaction this week. We're up to 29 on the chart with a single called "Leaving's Not an Option."
Right.
And the album.
Sometimes it is though.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. But
I'm only teasing. I was driving the other day and it was playing on the radio, which was great. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I think you could probably just get up and go. Remember? He's like, that's not the message I want to convey, because this is the album. But a great message nonetheless.
Yeah, I think it's an honest love song. You know,
Yes.
it's not all.
They're still in love.
I describe it as it's not all doom and gloom, but it's not all hearts and flowers either.
No.
So it's kind of an honest
reality.
one. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
reality.
For sure.
So now, Chris, we're in New Brunswick, and this is where you were born, but not Saint John, right?
I was born in Saint John at
okay.
the hospital, and I lived here till I was about 3, and then my parents moved to a little tiny village called Norton, which is you probably passed by on your way today.
Did we?
Actually, yeah, you blinked and missed it.
Is
I'm
that
sure.
true? We'll
It's
have
about
to go there.
6.
What's good about Norton? Like any groovy shops?
There's
or?
no shops whatsoever.
shops.
There's only 1,600 people. There's an Irving and a bank and a church.
And that's it.
About
but
it.
a lot of love.
Yeah, for
Hey?
sure.
You had fun?
It was a nice, quiet place to grow up, and I went to high school in Sussex, which is just up the road from that. So between Norton and Sussex, they had everything you needed.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now you've really been all over. Like you know, you've lived in the States, you've traveled and toured all over, but you're back in New Brunswick. There must be a reason for that.
Well, I wanted to be close to family for sure, and I always knew I wanted to move back to Canada. Nashville was kind of 2 or 3 years in. I had kind of gotten over the glitz and glamour of Nashville and knew I wanted to be back in Canada. I didn't know if I'd be able to be back in New Brunswick though, just because of the technology not catching up at the time for recording and for doing stuff like this, interviews. And but over the last 5-6 years, I noticed that you can pretty much do it from anywhere at this point. So it's a nice place to live. It
And
really
this is home for sure.
It is home. Yeah.
Okay, now if I'm out there and I'm like, I don't know, in Bonn, Germany or Cleveland, and I'm saying I'm going to New Brunswick, what would you tell people to do?
Oh, well, we constantly kind of just roam around. And I try to go to local shops, stuff like we're doing a benefit concert at a place called the Red Whale next week, which is my favorite coffee shop here. But there's towns around like St. Martin's. I would suggest people go see the caves in St. Martin's. Should see Hopewell Rocks, of course. It's something that everybody should see. St. John has reversing falls here, which is the only place where the tides reverse in the world. There's a lot of unique things about New Brunswick.
And there's Magnetic Hill.
There's Magnetic Hill.
Do you believe in that?
I think it's an illusion. I think it's an illusion. There's another place like that.
My parents had us convinced, though, Chris, when we were little.
Yeah,
hey?
For sure. Yeah, when we went up there, we all believed it.
I just want everyone to notice that we have been moving farther down the store because Chris keeps backing away from me. Has anyone noticed that? We started out here, and now we're soon going to be at the cash register so I can pay for his record. Is that fair?
I'm just naturally in defensive mode. Yeah, you've got the record in your hand.
Most people are when they're with me. That's so funny. Okay, well, we've got this record, so let's talk about it, because Give Me Tonight has been a labor of love, but you've been working with some great people, too.
Yeah, I recorded most of this record in Toronto with Dave Kalmusky, who is my producer and has worked on
Shout out, Dave.
Shout out, Dave. That's right.
Woo!
And the songs kind of are over a period of time. It's the first album where I've taken songs from my back catalog. I wrote a lot of songs with a guy named Don Schlitz.
Okay.
Don wrote The Gambler for Kenny Rogers and Forever and Ever Amen for Randy Travis and When You Say Nothing at All for Keith Whitley and Alison Krauss. And
so he's a hit maker.
He's a hit maker for sure. And so I went back into my catalog of the songs that I had written with Don and picked 3 songs off that and then wrote some new songs. And I actually recorded Lucy Got Lucky Again, too, one of my hits from 2004, because it was out of print and unavailable for sale.
Yeah, Lucy got lucky. Don't you worry about
So
there you go,
yeah.
smart. Well, I was going to say that must be very cool to go back in the songs that you sort of said, I'm not going to do. That must have been refreshing to.
For sure, and I had forgotten about a lot of the songs. It wasn't that I had really put them to the side as I'm not going to do them. You just write so much when you're living in Nashville. I think I had 40 songs in that catalog, and this one, Leaving's Not an Option, kind of rose to the top.
It seems to me like you're doing a ton of great work for great people. Like you take a break and you do charity work. Now, talk to me a little bit about some of your focus, because I know we promoted an event that you did in Nova Scotia for animals, and it seems like that's a big focus for you.
Yeah, for sure. Animal rights is something I've really gotten into over the last 3 or 4 years, and we did it was for a ranch that rescues horses from a slaughter pen in New Jersey and brings them up and rescues them. We did that in Bedeck, Nova Scotia. We just got finished doing the Brush of Hope Kidney Foundation campaign too.
You're very artistic.
Oh yes, yes. No.
Well, just show Chris's picture. That's good. It was you watching TV, right?
It was me watching TV and trying to write songs. That was the idea.
See, that's lovely. It is. It's beautiful. I mean, art is in the eye of the beholder.
I'm always shocked when somebody will pay for it too.
How much did it go for?
It went for $230. See? So yeah, it was pretty good. Absolutely.
People are anxious to see you perform. Are you heading out on the road at some point, or what's your plan?
Probably spring. We're going to let this single do what it's going to do, and I'm doing some radio promotions, running around visiting radio stations over the next month or two. But probably, I'm guessing March or April, I'll actually get to Nova Scotia for sure. We're talking about getting over there. Probably go to Ontario. Probably won't get out west till summertime.
You got to go to Newfoundland.
I know. I've only played Newfoundland once in all these years.
Come on. What is up with that? Yeah. Okay, now before we go, I just want to ask you, because I remember a time, and I won't say a day because I've got a lot of spackle on right now, but back in the day, you and me and Julian Austin were standing backstage. Are you still that guy that was backstage?
Hopefully a little more mature than that guy. Yeah.
You had a nice jacket on though. I remember.
Did I? I pulled a few stunts that I wouldn't pull I was probably 23 or 24 at that time.
Who didn't? I could write a book.
Yeah.
Are you writing a book?
I'm not writing a book yet.
Please,
no.
we need something to go viral. No book?
Well, it's been suggested to me, and I think I'll be done with the music industry as an artist before I write the book, because if you don't want to offend people, then the book won't be as good. So once I stop caring about offending people, I'll write a book.
You need a little scandal.
Yeah.
So, but you still look as handsome, not a day
thanks.
older.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I turned 35 this summer, so.
You're just a youngster.
Yeah.
And on that happy note, before someone asks me how old I am, I will say thank you, Chris Cummings, for meeting us here in Saint John, New Brunswick.
Thanks for having me, Stephanie. It's great to be on CNBC, and appreciate it.
God love him.